Everybody, welcome back. Or should I say, should I welcome myself back? Because I'm the one who's been fucking gone. It's a pleasure to see all of you here. Been a minute since we put one of these out, but I'm very excited to say that the Back and Bone show is back in action. And I'm pretty sure we've used that one before, but damn it if it just doesn't feel right. Anyway, we're back with more of the classic, traditional back and bone stuff that you love to hear from us. We're going to talk about the fights, Khabib and Conor, and we're going to talk about some movies that have come out recently that you may or may not have seen. Mandy, if you haven't checked it out, you probably should. That's a fucking gem. We're going to talk about some fun drugs on the air, things that you know that we like and appreciate. If you listen to us, you probably have similar feelings on them. Most of all, it feels good to kind of shake off the rust and get back to this. But as always, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for coming back, answering the call of the bone, the back and bone. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work, but we're gonna be putting these out pretty regularly again. So thanks for waiting on us, guys. We're back in action. Enjoy the show.
Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
An Uzi? I'm not from South Central Los fucking Angeles. I didn't come here to shoot 20 black 10-year-olds in a fucking driveway. I want a normal gun for a normal person.
Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it.
You thought he was white before? You should see that sucking man.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to
Well,
understand.
if it's like sounding shitty, will it tell you on your end?
Oh no, there's no way that we'll know until we stop and listen back. That's why I wanted to do like a preliminary little testing thing, see if the audio sounds like shit.
All right.
This is why I always tell people, be a PC, don't be a Mac. Why? Because I don't know how to fuck with the settings on Macs.
All my Macs are hand-me-downs.
Are they? Is this one a hand-me-down or what?
Yeah, I don't even, dude, I've never even bought, as far as like technology goes, I've never even bought anything past a flip phone. I got my iPad from Ariana, I got my iPhone from Ariana, and I got my MacBook from her too.
Hey man, it doesn't count as a hand-me-down if your wife got it for you. That's like if you got a hand-me-down is like if your brother gave it to you or something.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, just so you know, we are recording. I hit the record button a minute ago, so we're,
Perfect.
did you just say we're fucked?
No, I said perfect.
Oh, perfect. It's weird how similar those two, that word and that statement sound.
I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plug my headphones into my computer.
Oh, there you go. That should
That's
work.
probably exactly what's going on.
I forgot that you
Yeah.
have a laptop that would work the
Yeah.
exact same.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, there's no audio coming out of your computer now?
No, it's just into my headphones. Yeah, no, it's just into my headphones.
Cool. Well, hey everybody, I'm excited to bring you guys back. This is this is the first episode we've done in a while. This is the very first episode we've done on Zoom conferencing, so this is a momentous event for the Back and Bone show. And I wanted to have video to relay for a while, because we always just have the logo as the background. And well, that's fun. It kind of is. It gets boring for people who actually watch it like on YouTube and shit.
Yeah,
But welcome everybody.
indeed.
Matt?
Welcome back. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, it fucking has. Well, I mean, fucking life happens sometimes. Sometimes it happens harder than other times. But
But now that we have this whole Zoom conference thing figured out, we can do this like way more regularly.
yeah, that was the plan all along. I mean, we don't live in the same area by any means. So it's good to have some way of connecting and being able to record. And especially in the new studio here. Welcome everyone to Casa de Bone.
Big improvement from the hot box.
Dude. Oh man, I have such a nice air conditioner. The only problem is the one I have here is like twice as loud as the other one. So I mean, no more summer recordings.
Hey, you know what? That was like a true test. You can make it. If you can make a podcast in that weather, then you can do just about anything.
Dude, I've re-listened to that podcast a couple times, and it fucking kills me because I remember what we were going through.
Yeah, it was a struggle.
Dude,
I ended up going that night. We went to our friend's house, and I ended up going to a roller rink. Went roller skating. Did you see any of the pictures on Ariana's Instagram from when we did that?
I didn't. I'm just absolutely fucking awful at social media.
I looked like a big, flamboyantly gay rollerblader.
You had like a tank top on. You're out there.
No. I had a Wait, was that the weekend? I was wearing a pug T-shirt. I remember. Yeah. So
you had you had the watermelon hat and the pug T-shirt. I remember that.
Yes, but
we make a lot of reference to it.
When we went to so I bought this T-shirt online, and it was called "You've Seen It," because I wore it when I came over. I
inspect all of your clothes thoroughly.
When I came over to your dad's house to watch the last, we were to watch a UFC fight a few months back.
Mm-hmm.
It was back in June, and I was wearing it. It was like a Caribbean kind of loose-fitting, slightly pink. Slightly pink. Well, when I ordered it online, it kind of looked like a cream-colored orange.
Okay.
And I get it. It's basically just a big pink button-up T-shirt, and it was super hot out. It was 113 degrees, and we were going.
Well, it was 113 outside. Well, it was probably like 120 in my room.
Yeah, and we're going to a roller rink, and this roller rink didn't have air conditioning. So,
dude, it was a roller rink. I was thinking of like an ice skating rink. So
no.
I was gonna say, what the fuck?
That would have been nice, though.
You guys would have been swimming.
No, it didn't have air conditioning. So I put this I look like such a goofball, dude. I have this big giant pink T-shirt on. I've got shorts on that go above my knees. They're like these little workout shorts. Then I have rollerblades on, and then they give you these big old white socks to wear when you get the rollerblades. And then the socks are like poking out of the top of the rollerblades. And like, I just looked funny. Like, that episode of Dragon Ball Z where Vegeta's wearing the pink T-shirt that says Bad Man?
Yeah, and it was when he meets Trunks.
Yeah, I looked like...
Never seen a guy in a pink shirt before.
I looked like that combined with a gay lumberjack.
All right.
You have to see this photo. After this podcast, anybody who's listening to this and they follow my wife on Instagram, go on there and look at this photo.
Check it out. It's worth it.
And I just look ridiculous. And then she ended up taking a video of it, of me rollerblading around the rink.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you what, though. I hadn't bladed since I was probably like 9.
Bro,
rollerblading is fucking fun. It got a bad rap when skateboards came along. Rollerblading is so goddamn fun.
Dude, it's a social thing, Like skateboards came along and they were just like, that shit's whack, dude.
I remember when skateboards came along.
Keep that rollerblading bullshit out for the kids,
That's exactly what happened. I remember when I moved, I didn't know rollerblading was lame until I moved to Orchid. Well, I didn't move to Orchid, but I started going to school in Orchid.
You had all those Orchid gangsters and like,
yes.
The Tanglewood Lokes coming out.
The first person to tell me rollerblading was lame was Wyatt. And I had my blades. They were, and here's how lame I was. I didn't even have like cool, like, pro level name brand rollerblades. They were Goosebump ones. Goosebumps.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's way cooler.
Well, now it's cool, but in 1999 it wasn't that cool. I just looked like an overgrown fucking toddler.
Sure.
They were like falling apart. They were total pieces of shit. And I remember just like I tried to be like, everybody else had skateboards and I would try to be the lone blader.
Oh yeah.
I succumbed to the pressure and I got rid of them.
A couple of my permanent lifelong injuries are from the month that I tried to learn how to skateboard when I was a kid. That was before I found out that I have no balance or rhythm, so I can't like move like normal people do.
You know, for me, skateboarding, I didn't get too far with it. I got to like, the hardest trick I was able to do was like a kick flip.
Hey man, that's more than I could do.
Yeah, I could.
I did like my brother told me he's like this is how you're gonna learn how to ollie. Go into the grass and just practice ollieing. Here's how you do it. Just do it on the grass. You won't fall. You just keep trying to make it work until it happens. And I never made it work, so I just practiced like kicking myself around on and then, you know, one day I hit a rock and the skateboard shot out behind me. I fell on my ankle, and to this day, my ankle still pops from it. I was just like, okay, maybe this isn't for me.
Skateboarding to me, just the risk was never worth the reward. Like, you know, it makes more like, you know, with like, okay, let's just compare it, which, you know, we probably, since we both do martial arts, we would probably always compare it to this. But for me, it was like, with martial arts, at least you get a lifelong skill out of it. Like, what the fuck are you going to do once you learn, no, skateboard trick? That doesn't transfer to anything.
The difference for me was always, this could really just be me specifically, but for me, I always just felt more in control of a fight. I felt like I was more in control of what I was doing and how much I was going to get hurt with what I was trying to do.
Definitely.
Skateboarding was always just like, it was like a fucking car accident. Everywhere I was anything I attempted to do, whether I'm just like skating around or trying to do a trick, everything is just so up in the air. Like, it's like I might just fucking fall off and crack my head, twist my ankle, or like.
See, and I see it from your perspective. I totally agree with you. But what's funny is, like, if you were talking to somebody who's a skateboard, they would probably feel the exact opposite. They'd probably like, what are you talking about? You're not in control of the fight. There's another guy who, like,
right.
You're at the mercy of him, just like he's at the mercy of you.
Sure.
But I agree with you, though. Like, I think, I don't know.
I actually, as the words were exiting my lips, I was thinking about that counterpoint, but it doesn't feel that way with fighting. Like, but again, that's why I see it as something that I like. That's me as an individual. That's the way my brain works.
Yeah. Well, I think with fighting too. Not even just fighting, but any kind of like physically tiring endeavor. The process of kind of, and especially with fighting or any kind of combat sport, the process of kind of feeling somebody else's body start to fail. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's kind of a good feeling when you're like when you're grappling with somebody and you know they're not in shape. And you're like, oh yeah, this guy felt strong a minute ago, but he's starting to give. He's getting weak.
Yeah, I'm just going to crush this guy over time.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't know if you've experienced this specifically, but that's never more satisfying than when they're skill-wise or like strength-wise better than you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've had that happen to me in wrestling matches where I've been getting my fucking ass kicked by this guy. I'm behind on points. I'm getting crushed. But I can feel him wilting, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, dude, it's a matter of time. I feel like I'm fucking fishing here. I'm just waiting for you to bite, dog.
For sure. No, I totally relate to that because when I was training, I was super impatient. I never went over drilling technique and stuff like that, but I was a fucking gym rat, and I was always in great shape.
I remember James Dean saying that, like, that one time we were training, like, we were all fucking done, and you're over here doing, like, fucking, I don't even remember, you're doing, like, handstand walks and shit, you're doing random ass shit, and he's just like, fucking Matt's a fucking cardio machine.
Yeah, it always, even that still kind of trips people out to this day because I think the way that I'm built is naturally kind of mesomorphic. Okay. And I think I'm naturally probably even a little bit more fast twitch, but I've just always been such a gym rat that I just don't think I even have any choice but to be like well conditioned, you know?
Yeah. And you always were naturally a little smaller than me.
Yeah, definitely.
Not like muscle mass wise, but just naturally.
Like
your frame was always smaller than me.
I was visibly, like if me and you stand next to each other, I visibly, even if we would weigh the same, I visibly look like I'm a category below you.
Sure,
side
yeah,
play.
you would look like another weight class under me for sure.
Yeah.
And but you were much more committed to the fitness aspect, like fucking you were pumping weights all the fucking time. I always just like the fighting aspect of it. I
Yeah.
like sparring, I like grappling, I like drilling, I like getting good at fighting stuff. And then the conditioning and lifting and running, all that stuff was shit I could be like, I do that because I have to, but fuck it.
Yeah. No, well,
I can take or leave that shit.
that's how it should be, though. You know what's funny is I've grown to appreciate the learning the technical aspects of it more, because I started going to like back in probably like 2 months ago now. I started going to kickboxing classes again.
Did you?
And I
You
just
haven't told me about this. Like,
no, cool. Well, we haven't talked since then.
sure, but why is that my fault? Why are you throwing that at me?
So I started off on my own again, and then I started having Ariana come with me. I just go like once a week.
I really wanted you to get a little session in with me when you came and visited. Like,
I know, and we got to do that. We will for sure. Because
one of these times, I know I'm trying to make a trip down there really soon. Whenever we're in the same area, we got to get a little session in.
Yeah,
I'd love to throw a little bit of the shit that I've accumulated in knowledge over the years that I've not been training with you.
you know what we should do is talk to because the place that I've been going to the Paragon here in Arroyo Grande, and that's the one that John has been managing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, John's spot.
So I'm sure if you talk to John and just wanted to come in and fucking use the gym and stuff, he'd be cool with it.
Fuck yeah, John would have me in. Me and John are tight as fuck.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, since I started doing that again, that's been like so fun. Like it's crazy because now, you know what I think it was though, is just because back then it was like we were younger, and I was just so gung-ho on like pushing myself with the training. And whereas now that I've gotten more technical with my exercise, now I will, like when I went back in to train kickboxing, I want to be more technical with that. Like I've learned to appreciate it. I've kind of I think it just mentally have slowed down as I got older.
Do you feel like you have more just separated the two categories, or
Definitely.
So you're still,
because now I'm so fucking like the workouts I do are so programmed, and I know that okay, if I'm doing this specific workout at this time, it's to increase aerobic capacity. If I'm doing this workout at this time, it's to increase strength. When I go to do kickboxing, I don't even think about that. I'm like, I'm just here to learn technique. I'm here to learn the practice of kickboxing. You know,
not even just the technique. I mean, it is a how would I put this? Yeah, I consider it like a neuromuscular workout.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just a mental learning thing. It's you're actually training your muscles and your neurons to perform this complex movement.
Yeah.
It's not that it and you're learning it constantly to be more effective. It's not just that it is I'm learning mentally how to do this right. You're learning how to do it, but your muscles are learning how to do it.
Exactly. And like, then people from an outside perspective who've never done it don't realize how difficult that is. Because essentially what you're doing when you're learning kickboxing,
it's impossible to do right. It's impossible. Your body does not have the tools to do this correctly.
Right.
You have to. That's the whole point of the neuromuscular development. Is you're doing an unnatural movement and you're learning how to do it really, really well.
Yeah.
That takes time and time and time and time and time. And then,
well, and what's fascinating about it too is it's the most out of any workout you could do. You're using contralateral reciprocation in a way you wouldn't on anything else. The way you sling everything together using your arms like in conjunction with your legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand just by what the words mean. What
Well, like
but I've never heard that.
For people who are listening, what I mean when I say that is if I go to throw a kick with my right leg, what do I have?
You throw your hands towards your right when you throw.
Yeah, like what am I doing with the rest of my body in relation to my right leg?
You're oppositely rotating. Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of times people will see that and they'll think that it just comes from, well, you just got to fucking throw that right leg up there as hard as you can.
Make it.
But that skill is so unique to human beings.
And you know what? There's a balance to it too. It's not just about throwing that. It's about throwing that, but not throwing that too far. You want it to hit to the point where that's the right amount to throw your hands to throw that kick, to keep your balance and position yourself where you need to go.
Yeah,
placement. And then bring it back.
Yeah, there's so much to think about because it's like you said, you're throwing it, but then there's also placement to consider. There's also what part of your body you're landing it with. Like
even the idea of the kick. I mean, when I was like 22, 23, I could kick like a motherfucker. I could kick through a fucking bag. I swear to God, I felt like I could kick a person in fucking half because I could kick so fucking hard. Now I kick way less hard. I'm not even physically capable of kicking as hard as I used to be able to kick, but I kick so much better.
Right.
And a lot of that, learning how to kick correctly, took away from that power that I had. And the thing is, the way that I was kicking before when I could kick so freakishly fucking hard was that I had no control over the way my body was moving. I could just wing that kick out. But now I know how to move my hands. I know how to move my hips, my shoulders, my body. That allows me to control that kick, and I land back in my stance, and I'm ready to keep moving. And I kick again, boom, and land back in my stance. And what you want to do as that type of a dynamic athlete, not necessarily just a fighter, but any sort of like dancing or anything like that, where you're dynamically moving, you need to control your body and the way that you flow, is you're getting better at doing it perfectly.
Right. Yeah. Being able to because that's a lot of things and that's something that I used to do the exact same fucking thing. I still do.
But you and I kicked about the same. Like we had really similar kicking habits. We could just fucking boom, and people in the gym would be like, "Fuck."
We definitely kicked harder than average.
Dude, we turned heads for sure. I remember that.
But I when I went back to kickboxing, I still, it's funny, and it just like dawned on me like 2 weeks ago because I was kicking. And then the coach of the class, she came up and she was like, your kicks are good. They look really, really strong. Like you kick really hard, but your foot placement is off. And it was something I'd never considered because I have a tendency, I was throwing my kicks kind of flat-footed. So like my lead leg that I was pivoting off of, I wasn't rotating off the ball of my foot. I was just keeping it flat. She was like, I don't even know how you do that. Like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. It's just how
hard. And not
well, no, she meant like I don't know how she meant it like I don't know how you're doing that without like fucking twisting
or something.
Yeah, but I think it's just how I'd been doing it since I was a kid, and like that's just how I did it, and my body just adapted around it, I guess.
The original pattern that I developed for kicking, I got it from Boss Rutan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't get it from Boss Rutan. I got it from like the Boss Rutan style, and I actually learned it from this dude Julian, who was a foreign exchange student at our school who did like a year of Muay Thai in Thailand. I was like the first person who had kickboxing experience that I ever met.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a step out.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Just pick your foot up, turn it, and step down sideways, and then just let your body carry over.
Right.
That's not wrong. That's just not fluid, and it's not controlled.
Right.
You get a lot of power from that. But
that's exactly what I would do too. And I don't know if like I got that from Boss as well. I don't remember where I first saw it, but I would do the exact same thing. I would always, I still do that. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. I always turn my front foot out and I rotate.
I do that when I'm loading. If I try to set that up. Like I'll do hands, I'll come in, boom, 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 move around, and I'll step towards the side that I'm kicking from, and then I'll step back, and I'll just look for a place that I can find that step. But I don't do it the way that I did it before, where I would just be like standing there in front of the bag and just be like, step, boom.
Because at some point, it's like, and it seems so obvious too, right? It's like, well, yeah, it's like the old Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon when he's like, when the guy hits the board and he's like, boards don't hit back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that bag's not going to fucking hit back. So who gives a shit how hard you can kick it if you can't put yourself in a good, solid position right after,
Funny thing is, a lot of people care.
Yeah.
It's a funny choice of words. I know what you mean by that. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it freaks people the fuck out when you fucking crack that bag.
It does.
And they're
Yeah.
just like, holy shit.
There's one thing I know for sure is that if one of those lands, it has to fucking hurt for sure.
Fuck yeah, fuck your block. That was my theory when I was learning how to kick like that. I was just like, I know I'm not fast. I know I'm not gonna fucking sneak this shit in, but block it. See what happens. I'm gonna fucking crush you.
So speaking of fighting, there's like all fucking, I don't even know where to start.
Oh man, there's a whole mess of things.
stuff
Did you see the one last night?
Yeah, Fedor versus Sonnen.
Okay, I got a breakdown of it, but I didn't see it myself. So
It's worth watching. It's interesting.
I've been on a back-to-back work cycle since like fucking since like 3 p.m. last night.
Well, just as like a brief kind of, what I learned from it is, because now they've got Fedor. Fedor won that fight, and now they're going to have Fedor versus not Mitrione, Vader for the heavyweight Grand Prix final.
Vader versus Vader.
Vader versus Vader. And dude, Vader, he fought Mitrione on Friday night, and he just dominated Mitrione, took him down at will. Yeah.
I would expect Vader to beat Mitrione. That actually doesn't really surprise me that much.
Well,
Mitrione's a little bit more. I feel like Mitrione might surprise you more often than Vader will, but I think Vader is more solid.
Oh, way more solid. I mean, Mitrione doesn't, he comes from an NFL background, football background.
But Mitrione,
he's always got problems with good wrestling.
Yeah, but Mitrione kind of came. Mitrione came up pretty fast, by his own merit. I'm not even saying like he came up fast, like he got given chances, blah blah blah. Like he actually did good with the shots he was given.
He did. For sure.
He picked up skills really fast. I think I don't like Mitrione particularly, but I can't hate on him. He's done fine with the opportunities.
No, yeah, I always enjoyed his fighting. Mm-hmm. I like his fighting style. He's really moves good for a guy that big. And I like his foot movement.
He's funny too. Like when he talks, he's funny. I appreciate that.
Character.
Yeah, for sure.
But Vader versus Fedor. It's hard for me to see Fedor winning that fight just because he fought Chael.
He doesn't have the abs that Vader's got. He's got those 300 abs.
It's sorely lacking.
Yeah.
And I feel like I make it a habit out of doing this. I kind of constantly underestimate Fedor, and I did this with Frank Mir. I thought Frank Mir was going to win.
Dude, we both did.
Yeah, everybody did.
We had that podcast and everything. We were fucking neither of us thought Fedor was going anywhere in that fight.
But I just think that Vader is gonna be able to take him down at will and hold him there fairly easily. If this fight had taken place 5 years ago, maybe not. But at this point in their careers, I really feel like Vader is like hitting his big stride right now. Like,
do you think so? I honestly, I haven't been paying that much attention to Vader. I really should be paying more attention to the fight game overall. But you think he's doing better right now than he was in the more highlight portions of his career?
Yes, but one thing that can be said is that not
like when Tito Ortiz knocked him out to break a 13 losing streak.
No. But you know what though? I'm not like a Ryan Bader like major like fan or anything like that. But I mean, come on, that was like they fight 100 times. I don't think Tito's winning that fight, but I think Tito just had.
I think Tito got the one out of the 100 right there.
He did. He really did. But Bader's on a look at.
That was my favorite knockout ever because he did like this weird like limp arm kind of like that was the hook he hit him with. He's all.
Tito is borderline retarded. Like Tito did. There was this thing I saw online the other day, and it was him trying to. God, I don't even remember what it was. It was something of like him butchering the English language, and you think like at this point in Tito's life, like he would just learn from his past and be like, you know what, maybe I just shouldn't like talk in the lead up to my fights anymore because nothing ever comes out right.
He always had really bad shit talking. Even like in the early days when he was known for his shit talking and everything.
Yeah.
Like, what was one of the ones he said to Chuck Liddell? He
When
was like, "You
he
will
told-
be the last of the Mohicans." What the fuck does that mean, man?
He told, or no, was it Ken Shamrock that told him he was going to beat him into a living death? Ken
Yes.
Shamrock told him that he's going to beat him into a living death.
He told him that in the cage. I remember. We were all there at like we were at Nathan's house and like Wyatt was there and shit.
Yeah. So Ryan Bader actually is on a fairly,
you into a living death.
he's on a fairly impressive win streak here. Ryan Bader, since 2013, his only loss is to Anthony Johnson, KO by punch in 2016, which that's a pretty understandable loss. I mean,
I remember that fight. He made him shit himself.
yeah.
Maybe not physically, but psychologically, he definitely hit himself in that fight.
Listen, in between 2013 to now, other than the Anthony Johnson fight, listen to this rap sheet of dudes he's beaten. Anthony Perosh, Rafael Cavalcante.
First of all, I just want to throw Anthony Perosh. You can just X that one
Okay.
off.
All right. Well, I'm just trying to start from the top of his
Yeah.
win streak.
I get it. I get it.
Anthony Perosh, Rafael Cavalcante, Alvin St. Preux, Phil Davis, Rashad Evans, Elir Latifi, Antonio Ruggiero Noguera, Phil Davis again, Linton
You
Vassell.
beat Little Lug?
Yep, Muhammad Lawal and Matt Mitrione. That's a fairly impressive, nice little win streak.
That's a medium impressive. That's an above Vader impressive win streak. That's
It's not too shabby.
dude. That's a good amount of fights to win in a row. I'll tell you that. Like even regardless of the names, I mean, if he was fighting Anthony Perosh every time, like I wouldn't be impressed. That one had a fucking that one's got an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, I shouldn't even have included it. But
That's almost a step backwards, but it's okay. Like we're gonna get mad at you.
you got Fedor over here, and he's coming off of a win over Frank Mir and Chael Sonnen.
Hey,
Both TKO.
I just want to say that like at any point in your career, whoever you are as a fighter, any chance that you get to beat Fedor is gonna be a legacy maker.
Yeah.
Yes, he's at the back end of his career, but like it does not matter as far
Doesn't
as like
matter.
what you're being recognized for.
Yeah, no,
You
that
Yeah,
is a signature win to have on your record.
there's
There's only a few guys out there like that. Like, you got Fedor, Anderson Silva,
Mhm.
all
that
the-
might be it. Like
Yeah.
no, there's different tiers of that. Like
Yeah.
like a much more realistic one, like a Jeremy Horn. It's like if Jeremy Horn's out there fighting and you beat him, that's a
Wait
no-
a minute.
I'm not saying that's gonna make your legacy. I'm saying
Maybe
like,
if you're fighting on
if
the
you're
very regional scene.
yeah,
Not
that's
that
what
there's anything wrong. Hey, Jeremy.
that's what I meant by there being tiers to it. Like I
Yeah,
mean like
yeah,
on a much lower tier, if you were to say like in the division that I'm fighting in and you fight
Mhm.
somebody like that,
For sure.
and
Yeah,
that's gonna
I
be
agree.
like, oh shit. that's a big
that also is a really dangerous fight for somebody too, though, and I guess that's what would make it.
Well, that's what I would relate this to on a world stage with Fedor,
Yeah.
is you're not going to get that win easily, unless you catch him, and that's just all that happens in the fight. It's pretty meaningful to where you're at.
Yeah, I agree. That's a
Mhm.
meaningful win. Well, what do you make of that whole? Did you watch Conor versus Khabib?
Yeah, I mean, I watched it. I was fucking blackout drunk at Dave and Buster's at the Sky Lounge. It's beautiful up there. Great time. But that was me and Melissa. But yeah, the whole fucking him jumping out of the cage and everything.
You know what sucks is I didn't even get to see it live.
Hey man, I'm sorry to
We
hear
were,
that. I can see the sadness in your eyes. That's like
We had to go to. Ariana had a dinner party planned for us at some of their clients' house. It was wonderful.
oh man, I bet that was a really good time.
It was great.
You guys probably had like cheese and wine, right? Something nice like that.
You must be a Nostradamus because we did have cheese and wine.
Yeah.
We
Was
also
there
had,
was there a bruschetta? Like
there wasn't a bruschetta, but it was close enough.
what kind of dinner party is this? Like,
There were
are you savages? Were you raised in a barn?
there was some slow cooked tri-tip, which they actually sent us home with some, which was very nice.
They sound like nice people, but
They are. But yes, I was very disappointed to have to miss that, and I ended up having to watch the whole thing online after.
mhm.
How I feel about that whole scenario, who cares? I like him hopping the cage. It's like, who cares? You know, a bunch of guys have done that before.
I mean, I haven't rewatched it yet. I've been fucking way too busy, but the all I felt about that was like, yeah, who gives a shit? Like,
Yeah.
Him
hopping.
now, worst case, I was explaining this to somebody at my work, okay? So the legal ramifications for anything that went down as far as like assault or whatever, as far as anything permanent, the only people who don't, or the only people who are really in control is the commission. So the commission could say he can't fight here anymore. So the commission could say that. So he can't fight in Vegas anymore. And that's the end of the story there. As far as like Dana White is concerned, Dana White's saying like, yeah, I'll never fight for us again. We're stripping the title, blah, blah. It's like bullshit. He's the biggest.
No, you won't do that.
Like, yeah.
That's so stupid. No, that for number one, because that fight will happen again.
Yeah, of course.
There's no doubt. Number two, as I said, I don't think him hopping the cage was a big deal, but I do think that his teammate hopping in the cage and punching Conor is a huge deal.
That was a pretty big deal, but that wasn't as big of a deal as Conor throwing a dolly at a bus full of fighters.
No. Well, no, it's not.
It was more direct. It was more.
But I do feel like it is a. I do feel like, not to compare the two, but I do feel like the guy jumping in the cage and punching him is such a direct like violation of like fighter rules.
That's what I mean.
After a dude just went 4 hard rounds and his arms are blown out to take a cheap shot at him, to me that's just like the lowest in the line.
That's sort of more what I mean by the word poignant. It's so specifically it's more of an individual situation. You can't really compare it to him throwing a dolly. As far as punishment and repercussion, that's where I would compare it. It's like, yeah, the assault on a whole bus full of fighters is a bigger deal, but that was more of a dick move.
Yeah, well, and here's how I feel as far as like punishment goes. Look, what Conor did is like beyond the scope of the UFC because it didn't take place during a fight. It affected fights that were place.
It seriously violently affected people. Like there were individuals in civilian circumstances that were fucking harmed.
Yeah. So what he did was definitely worse. And he definitely, I mean, I guess he got his punishment. I don't know. He's getting sued and, you know, he had to go through the whole legal process outside of the UFC. But I think as far as punishment from the UFC goes, I definitely think that the dude who hopped in the cage and punched him shouldn't be allowed to fight in the UFC. I wouldn't. Because that's like fucking, I don't know. I've never seen that before. I've never seen another guy do that after a dude just fought. Can you imagine?
I feel like I've seen stuff like that happen.
There's stuff like that, like Paul Bailey punching at Koscheck.
No, I mean, just in more like Bush League events or just events, things that were not things that were not the UFC.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know.
It's a tough one to call.
It is.
Sure.
Man, it's just crazy to think like how long it's been since we've recorded one of these.
Well,
I feel like so much has happened, but I was super unprepared because we kind of got this together really, really suddenly.
Well, I definitely, those are obviously, that's probably the biggest thing. But the other big thing that I wanted to talk about, which, well, I don't know if it would even be, we should do like a separate podcast on it. But
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We talked about this multiple times, and I don't want to leave the viewers / listeners in suspense, but I do want to say that it leads into a separate topic. So let's bring it up real quick. The movie Mandy.
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
I loved it.
There's so much to say about it, dude. It was so raw. It was so dark, and but also had this like comedy to it. Like
Yeah.
it had yeah. Go ahead.
And so I saw it in theaters because they played it across the country for one night only. Thursday night at like 7.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to go see it. I went and saw it by myself. And dude.
Dude, that's the way to see a movie like that. Like I watched Infinity War by myself in the theater. Like I was like, I don't want any distraction. I just want the big screen, and I want it to be me watching this.
So like my general, I guess, summary of this movie would be, number one, if you are not like kind of a hardcore movie fan, it might not be the movie for you.
It's too
it's very avant-garde.
It's very avant-garde. It's very raw. It's very it's not they didn't color inside the lines. Let's put it that way.
No, not at all. But here's the thing about it is like, here's what I loved about it. Number one, it's as far as just movies that can, it's one of the best movies that I've ever seen in regards to making you feel what the characters are feeling with such like a lack of dialogue. Just through the use of color and sound. And
I don't want this to be a spoiler. I don't think it will be, but just in response to that statement, the scene when he's in the bathroom and he gets vodka, it's like, that was classic Nicolas Cage. And it was classic Nicolas Cage extreme acting, but it was so deep. That moment was just so like, I was fucking screaming. He's like,
It was like the perfect summarization of Nick Cage's entire career.
Well, it was it was that, but it was also like this perfect summary of what had just taken place on the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
here's the funny thing.
He survived, gotten to where he's at, and now he's in this like safe spot, and everything just came out. Like,
yeah, well, and here's the funny thing. So when I saw this in theaters, it was a funny movie to see with an audience because you get all these varying reactions that would range from like, and you know, most of the people that are going to go to see Mandy on a Thursday night are not like your Joe Schmo who just...
Right, they're going to be people who are looking to see that movie.
Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah. So most of the people kind of got it. But there was some people, you got like a whole wide range of reactions. Most of the people in the audience when he did that were just laughing because they knew it was classic Nick Cage, like they had a sense of humor about it. But there was also a few people in the audience who were just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
What is this?
Well, it almost had a kind of, it had a lot of fucking, what's his name? Tarantino influence. Like, I don't know if it was directly influenced from Tarantino, but it had vibes that had that.
I definitely noticed that too, and I don't know if I wrote it.
But I feel like it was deeper than that. Like, it took that element and it went farther in to where that where that source came from.
Yeah, it was like a mix of Tarantino with like David Lynch.
Oh, dude, that was what I was gonna say. Yeah. I shit you not. I was gonna say it almost had a David Lynch kind of.
It was like Tarantino, David Lynch, David Cronenberg, and
yeah, you're hitting it. Yeah,
and with a little bit of just like, I love like heavy metal.
Maybe just like a dash of Chanwick Park, like just a little shave of Chanwick Park.
That's what's so good about it. It's a completely unique vision. I mean, like, you feel like you're watching this world straight out of this dude's head.
So
I mean,
no. But you know what? I was so when I watched this movie, as I told you, but you know, our audience doesn't know.
Yeah.
I was frying a little bit on mushrooms. I didn't want to go super deep. I didn't want to be like fucking fried out super hard. But I felt like this was a movie you kind of have to, or should, if you're into that sort of thing, experience on mushrooms, because it's a very psychedelically based movie, which it was. It fucking definitely was. There was a strong resonating theme of psychedelics in the movie. So I'm sitting there just fucking watching it. I got all the lights off, the TV on, and the scene that was like the trippiest for me is when he meets the chemist.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
fucking awesome. I
it
loved
was
it.
so
That was one of the.
good.
I loved that scene. That was probably.
But you know what? I feel like that's a scene that's going to get misunderstood a lot by
It
people who
would.
watch it.
It would and it will.
There's a lot of people who are going to watch that movie and just be like, "What is going on in this scene?" I
I
don't
mean,
get it.
even just, but here's what I don't understand is that even if they don't get it, just purely from an aesthetic value, it's visually such a
It
beautiful scene.
it is, but it doesn't. The scene doesn't guide you. You have to
No,
be
it
like,
doesn't.
you have to
You have
let
to be,
yourself be taken by it.
yes, you
It
do.
doesn't. It
It's,
doesn't.
and
Yeah.
but see, that's what irritates me sometimes about people when why is it so bad? And I talk to people like this
Well,
all the
it's
time.
it's the plot line concept. The idea that a plot has to work as a plot
Right.
and
Yeah.
work the way a plot works. And if something doesn't necessarily follow that, you need to be guided through it and explained why. But that scene was just it was madness, but it was madness with an idea behind it. It was
Exactly.
madness like that. This guy is fried.
Yeah.
My screen just did something.
Oh.
But this guy is just fried, but he's in this ethereal realm communicating. And
Right.
Nick Cage isn't even talking. He says like nothing the entire scene. And this guy's just like, oh, I get it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
What irritates me, not irritates me, but I just don't see it this way, is why people feel like they need to be guided.
Right.
You know, I like when movies force you to guide yourself, come up with your own opinion, figure it out.
That was kind of the reference to Chandler Park that I just made, like the movie Old Boy that a lot of people
Yeah.
haven't seen. A lot of people only saw the American version, which is very, very different.
Yeah, the one that Spike Lee did that.
Yeah. Oh, just a terrible, terrible.
It's not a movie. It's not a movie that should have been remade in the first place.
But the idea there is that movie challenges your morals. It challenges your concept of like right and wrong, and it makes you go like,
yeah,
is this bad? This is happening.
So as far as I did the chemist scene was awesome. Another scene that I loved, there was not just scenes, but there was like specific frames in that movie that I loved, as far as like they just looked like paintings. And there was one single frame that stood out for me, like heads above the rest.
Okay.
It's the scene where the biker gang of like whatever you want to call them, demons,
Mm-hmm.
and then the bald-headed dude are standing in the woods looking over the house. You remember that frame? They're
Vaguely, kind of like, again, I was on.
Yeah, he's probably.
Psychedelic, so I was in and out. But I appreciated that what you're talking about. There was a lot of stunning visuals.
Yes, there was one visual in particular, because if people see this movie, I want them to be on the lookout for this visual. But it's just like genius. But it's this visual where they're standing in the woods waiting to kind of descend upon the house and like abduct them. And it's the whole row of like 5 of them standing, and it's dark, like this bright red background, and then you get this silhouette of the trees surrounding them, and then the silhouette of them.
The fact what you just mentioned there, it reminds me also that of all those other references that we made about what kind of put this movie together, it also is very comic book.
Yeah, for sure.
Strongly dark comic book feel to it.
Definitely
one of the reasons why I'm sure you and I both felt a lot of the same emotion towards it. It was
and then the characters, whatever the bikers or whatever they were, there was a big they were like what do you call it, Cenobites from Hellraiser.
Yes.
Just like that. I mean, you could tell that was like, I'm sure the director would even say that, like he had to.
I'm sure there was an influence there. They didn't exactly look like it, but they represented. Wasn't there even 4 of them in Hellraiser? There was like 4 Cenobites, right?
I think so. There's Chatterer, the girl, the fat guy, and then Pinhead.
Yeah.
Maybe one. I think there was 4. Yeah.
I think 4 is the number. But yeah, I remember, well, even before I got into the movie, because I tried to watch it like once before. It was situationally, I didn't get the chance to. But before I'd actually like watched the movie, I just kind of checked it out. The opening scene where they're like on the lake and you see the way that they like open up and the water is all glistening and everything. I was like,
Yeah.
this is very unique. This is something I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to like really appreciate the cinematography of this, because this isn't normal. They didn't just play this out and be like, okay,
No.
here's a shot. Like, this is a very intentionally made movie with every aspect.
I love the choice of music too.
Unbelievable, dude. The music was fucking fantastic.
You know what it was like? It was like you had a dude who was like a metalhead, but he just happened to also be like one of the best artists on the planet. But he's really into metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he didn't let that go. There was so much of that influence in that movie with the with the dragons, the fantasy element that kind of underlied it, you know?
There was a strong like the music wasn't overwhelmed with metal though.
No, it wasn't. It was for when it, not like when I say metal, I don't mean like.
No, I get what you're saying because I watched the movie, but what the.
But for people listening who haven't seen it, I don't mean metal like fucking Slipknot or like thrash metal or nothing like that. I'm talking about like one of the bands they have a lot in the movie is King Crimson, and they're like almost like a fantasy. God, what would the name be? Like fantasy rock, kind of
like that mystical rock,
like mystical metal. I don't know what the fuck you even call it.
It's like that.
There's somebody out there that knows it. I feel like it's
if you've ever seen a cover for a Megalodon album, it's like that.
Yeah.
But not their actual music.
But then even the font at the beginning of the movie, for the title sequence, even that is done in that style of like it's like black metal font. So there's other, not just the sound wise, I mean, but there's other traces of it in there.
I've never been even the closest thing to a metalhead myself, but I actually always really liked the artwork that accompanies metal music. Like when you see the metal album covers and the posters and stuff, I always thought that was like super cool.
They always had
I always wanted to watch the movie, but there was no movie. It was just a metal album that I had no interest in.
Yeah, you were never into metal, huh?
Yeah,
I probably caught it even more than you did because I was like a massive metalhead when I was a teenager.
Were you?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, dude.
Yeah, I was into like Black Dot. I went to Ozfest when I was 14 and I saw Slayer and fucking
I liked
Judas Priest and
I liked punk rock a lot. That was like my
I liked punk too. We were kind of like my group that I would hang out with. Well, it was like me, Wyatt, and Dirk. But we were more metalheads, but we would listen to punk too. Like we would not super like we would listen to like the Misfits and like fucking
I like Dead Kennedys and I like the Casualties and Anti-Flag and shit.
I saw Casualties one time. I saw them in concert.
I didn't see Casualties. I saw Dead Kennedys and I saw TSOL in concert. Those are like the biggest names that
I've grown to appreciate Dead Kennedys. I didn't listen to them that much back then.
Oh, they're great, dude. They're very melodic for a punk band when you come.
Well, you know what's random. What made me a fan of them was I went to go see one of my favorite bands now, even though I wasn't really into their last two albums. I really like Arcade Fire, and they're more of like an indie alternative band.
Well, you went and saw them when the last time you were out here when we did that podcast. Not the last time, but
last time when we were there that one time, I was going to go the LCD sound system.
Oh, that's right. And you were hoping that Arcade Fire was going to be their guest.
Yeah, we were just kidding, hoping. But I'd seen Arcade Fire twice. But the first time I saw them in Santa Barbara, they opened up on the tour that they were doing. Every venue that they played at, they would open up with a cover song that was specific to that venue.
Okay.
So that was, I think the Santa Barbara one was like their first date in California. So they opened up to Dead Kennedys, California, Uber Alice.
Oh, okay.
And I'd never even, I think maybe I had heard that song before, but I was like, fuck, I like that song. That's a good song. So then I like downloaded that and then I started listening to some of their other stuff. And I just like recently got into them kind of.
I never heard any of the covers of it, but California Uber Alice is a really good, like I was saying, one of the things I really like about Dead Kennedys is as far as punk bands go, they're very melodic. Like a lot of punk bands, they kind of attack your ears when you listen to them. It's like if you don't like this, you know, you're a fucking conformist. You just like stuff that sounds good. What's your problem? You know, like, that's super dumb. Like Dead Kennedys, they were borderline sellouts as far as punks.
They were according to my friends who were really into punk, Dead Kennedys were for sure sellouts. But I mean, but you know what though?
They were super punk.
My favorite punk band was and always will be the Misfits. I fucking love the Misfits. That's one of my favorite bands of all time. I don't think there's a song that they've done that I haven't liked. But guess what? The reason why they become sellouts is because they're really good. They actually play good music.
Right. If you play trash and nobody wants to hear it, you have the opportunity to sell out. Like
exactly.
And if you play good music, everybody who's fucking competing with you just goes fucking sell out, bro. It's the only reason why they.
Exactly.
Funny, the Misfits is your favorite band because like when I don't put product in my hair, I get the Jerry only like devil look. Like,
the original Misfits just got back together, and I wanted to go see them. I would have gone and seen them last December at the Forum in Inglewood.
Who's the original singer? Is that
Glenn Danzig?
It's Glenn Danzig is the original?
Yeah. Their two founding members, I think, were Glenn Danzig and.
I thought Glenn Danzig was just like the most popular era.
No, he was the first. They've been around since like the mid '70s.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they've been around forever. But Misfits is it's a weird one though because it's one of the few bands that was able to replace their lead singer and still make pretty good music.
Yeah. Like, who was the one that I fucking?
I think there's Balzac. Is that his name? The guy they had in the '90s. I think his name was Balzac.
Balzac.
I think so.
Balzac. My brother got me into. What was the album Famous Monsters? I can't remember the guy's name. It was Michael something. Michael Graves.
Yeah.
I liked Michael Graves. He has a cool voice, and most of the Misfits stuff that I got into was actually the Michael Graves era. Like I was familiar with Danzig. I know Danzig era, but I like Michael Graves.
The Misfits are cool because they were the first band that I heard that really like it was like horror rock, you know, like you felt like you were listening to an audio version of like a horror movie.
It kind of had that like suggestedly kind of had that fucking like 50s or like 40s kind of like diner like drive-in movie theater horror, you know, like the whole the whole album Famous Monsters was all about things like that. Like it was I think one of the songs was like The Crawling Eye, and then like one of the songs was it's like Hunting Humans and shit.
They had that. They had there's a lot of dude, there's so many songs like them I like. Skulls, Astro Zombies, I Turned Into a Martian, Hybrid Moment.
I Turned Into a Martian. Yeah.
But it's actually a good song.
No. They were all good songs. The Misfits are good, dude. There's no reason. They weren't my favorite because I didn't always want to listen to that style of music, but they were for sure good at what they were doing, you know? But I love that category, that sort of like that almost silly, like almost safe kind of horror genre.
Well, it was a niche. I mean, it was kind of a smart thing that they did because it was a niche. Because there's not really, if you think about it, if we were to really break it down and examine it, it's like on the surface, okay, it might seem safe because they're just singing about.
It's that Earth versus the Spider type horror.
Right. But here's a question though: in the world of punk, how safe is it? Because every other band will do political music in punk. Wouldn't that be technically the same?
I don't feel like they are punk. I feel like they're more metal than they are punk.
They're kind of a hybrid.
They're very
just kind of like their own thing,
punk, in my opinion. Yeah.
They're
sort of like in the same way that like Tool is its own thing. Like Tool is considered metal if you put them in a category. But when you listen to Tool, would you really call that metal?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But you know, that's that. I'm only comparing that because of that. Like they're not similar to Tool in any kind of fucking way. But the great bands always are kind of their own thing, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. They do their own deal. I so I was gonna see them at the Inglewood Forum last December, but I didn't get to go because a week before that I had bought tickets as a gift for Ariana to go see Lady Gaga at the Inglewood Forum.
Ah, Lady Gaga.
So I wasn't able to go to see the Misfits. Um, but that kind of segues into the next thing. About last weekend, we went to go see A Star Is Born, the directorial, okay, you laugh now. I don't know if you would like it. I really liked this fucking movie. I really liked
No,
it.
I have a funny story. Tell me what you have to say about it. I'm
All
telling
right. I really liked it. Like, number one, I felt like don't get me, okay, it's A Star Is Born. So there's elements of it. They're inevitably going to be kind of corny and all that shit. I just felt like they did such a good job of balancing it out with like the character that Bradley Cooper plays is kind of rough around the edges. I felt like Lady Gaga's acting was surprisingly very, very good. And
Look, I've seen her on American Horror Story. You ain't gonna fool me, bro.
okay, I thought it was good. And on top of that, it felt very authentic. They did a good job because number one, Bradley Cooper spent like 3 years learning how to play guitar and learning how to sing for this movie. So all the tracks are actually him.
Yeah,
All the
I
tracks
heard
are
that.
actually
Yeah.
her, and they performed in front of live audiences. So it just felt like immersive. Like it felt
Okay, so
very,
it was
genuine.
legitimate. It did its own thing. I get what you mean by that. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But like my sister texted me the other night right after I got off work, and she's like, we're all doing shrooms together, blah blah blah. So I'm FaceTiming with them. Like they end up they're fucking blasted in space. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. And my she's like, my brother is gone, and he's like, his wife goes like, we're looking for a movie to watch. So do you guys want to watch A Star Is Born? And he hasn't been able to speak for like 2 hours. He's just like, they're like, his good night to me was, and so his wife's like, you guys want to watch A Star Is Born? And he manages, no.
Well, you know what?
Oh, that made me think right there when you said that.
I can't guarantee that you'll like it. You most likely probably won't. But all I'm saying is I did enjoy it. Maybe give it a chance. I liked it in the same way that I like Good Will Hunting. It kind of, well, actually, no, that's not true.
Wait, yeah,
because
that didn't make any sense. Hold
no,
on.
no, no. Well, because I always feel really good when Good Will Hunting is over and I finished it with a smile on my face. I definitely didn't. This was a sad movie. I didn't have a
Good
smile.
Will Hunting gives me a little bit of like there's a little bit of pull away from that. It's not all happy.
No,
But
it's mostly.
I want to say this before we move on to the next category. I'm glad you made that segue for us, combining movies and drugs, because like as I told you about this beforehand, but I wanted to talk about this little thing right here.
Yes, for those of you that can't see, it's it looks like it. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. It just looks like you jizzed into a cup.
Well, I
But
did jizz in the cup.
what it is
This is the same cup that I jizzed in when we were on the phone.
what it is a mushroom marinating in citric
Yeah.
acid.
Well, it's it's a little microdose. It's not a lot. It's just maybe like a mushroom quantity wise, and it's been sitting in lemon juice for about as long as we've been doing this podcast. So what that's doing, I'm gonna give you guys a little intoxication lesson for the day. This is called a lemon tech, and what a lemon tech is the acids in this is where the whole like drink orange juice or drink grapefruit juice when you do mushrooms came from, that fucking myth. If you let your ground up bits of mushrooms sit in lemon juice for 20-30 minutes, it'll break down the psilocybin into psilocin, which is a more bioavailable compound for your body to use. Instead of getting digested and then broken down, and then a lot of it's lost in the digestive digestion process. This just has it all kind of sitting there ready for you.
And I wonder if that's because I've actually heard of that before, but I don't think that attribute in regards to citric acid is just specific to mushrooms, because they recommend doing that. One of the things they'll recommend, like if you're taking collagen powder or collagen protein, they recommend,
I'm just all
they recommend squeezing lemon into it and actually adding some citric acid or a high dose of vitamin C, because it actually makes it more bioavailable for you.
I've heard a lot of things about citric acid and lemon. Like, I remember reading my nutrition class about how I can't remember the exact science of it. You probably actually know about this more than I do, but about how lemon juice has something to do with activating your fat burners or whatever the fuck, like activating your metabolism or something. But
yeah, I've heard of that before, like in regards to, I think it's like just, I don't know if it would be lemon juice specifically.
Well, it was mostly,
like
it was
vitamin
lemons.
C.
Well, it was lemons had a specific compound in them that were specific to lemons. That limes had a less concentrated dose, but limes also had it. It was,
Well, like one of the, I don't know specifically. I'm not sure.
sorry, I gotta get something to wash that out with so I can finish it.
Yeah.
I'd hate to waste the remains in there. Excuse me 1 second.
Just to touch on what Keith was talking about, he was talking about vitamin C in lemons and in limes. I don't know what the difference is, to be honest. But one of the things that they will recommend that you do sometimes is use lemon juice to help with digestion, like protein specifically. So a lot of times they'll recommend some kind of form of like hydrochloric acid to help break down the protein. And I think you can use that in the form of lemons, or you can use that in the form of like apple cider vinegar, or you can just get like a hydrochloric acid tab, and that'll help break down
that makes
digestion.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Man, that was also kind of my segue there to go get myself another beer. But I did actually need to wash down the mushrooms.
Can't have mushrooms without a beer.
Oh man, I don't know how you do mushrooms.
I don't. I'm too big a pussy. I did them once when I was fucking 15, and I never looked back.
Oh man.
Even though I think my what do you call it? My reaction would probably be drastically different now.
I would love for you to take my mushrooms. I think it would be a really fun experience. It would be a really fun experiment. I've taken them enough times that I know their potency pretty well, although I don't know your tolerance level. And I don't mean that like your tolerance level is in your willingness to do it, but your tolerance level is in
I'm assuming my tolerance level would be insanely low to like anything right now. I literally haven't ingested any other than like CBD. I haven't ingested a substance in 2 years.
Man, I have such an embarrassingly high tolerance level of drugs. It's humiliating. Whenever I fucking buy drugs off people, it's always like I gotta hit them up later and be like, hey, your shit didn't work. And they're like, it worked for me. Like, oh yeah, it was me, my bad.
Well, so another
real quick, I just want to show you guys because this is one of my babies here.
Wow, that's crazy.
Thing. It's perfect looking, right?
We're learning about that in biology right now.
You're learning about psilocybin?
No, not psilocybin, just fungi in general, just like how it lives and feeds. And
isn't that little guy? Isn't it precious?
It doesn't look real. It looks like a plastic little.
I know, it looks like a toy.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was I gonna segue? Oh, so there's another. I thought you would kind of get a kick out of this. Another new thing that I started doing. Apparently, I didn't really think about it until I started going over things in my mind that we were gonna cover. But I was like, man, I've started a lot of new projects in the last few months.
That was kind of all I really thought about. Was just like, what's going on right now that we could talk about?
Yeah. Well, so one of my new projects is I started going to Pilates classes, and I'm in the
I'm glad
process.
you're doing kickboxing, but man, you gotta leave those women alone, okay? Like,
No, I'm in the process of getting certified for Pilates. I have a certification this weekend in Fresno. I already did one in
You're
Burbank
you're a
when we came back
predator.
from Chicago. No,
I'm gonna go on social media, just start warning women about you.
have you ever done a Pilates class?
No, but I hear it's really fucking hard though, from what I
It's
hear.
fascinating. It's not what people expect it to be, I don't think.
No, I don't think it is. Like from what I understand, the only thing I've heard about it is that it's way fucking harder than you think.
It's hard in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not, I wouldn't describe it as being like
it's common knowledge now that yoga is hard. Like everybody knows yoga's the real deal now.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, but
I mean, I feel like Pilates is the new yoga. Like
it's hard. Pilates is hard in the sense that yoga is difficult in the sense that you're holding like you're going through like various static stretches and you're holding them for extended.
It's a lot more isometric and it's a lot more balance and proprioception and shit.
It's yoga. Yeah, yoga. It's like a combination of proprioception and static stretching.
Yeah, flexibility.
Yeah. Pilates is and passive stretching as well. Pilates is a more like mobility in some ways because it's a lot of it's maintaining muscle tension while you lengthen. So it's like a lot of decompressive techniques.
Wait a minute. So you're maintaining muscle tension while you're maintaining the same muscle.
No, when I say tension, sorry. So I don't mean like you're
No, not contraction, tension.
Yes. So
okay,
like
so you're not like pulling your bicep in and stretching your bicep.
No.
That didn't make any sense. All right.
That's not possible.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
No, so what I would mean by that is like, let's say you're doing a, so if they're having you do like a crunch type position, if you were just doing a crunch on your own, you might just do a crunch, like go knees to elbows and just try and kind of like superficially contract your rectus abdominis. And for those of you guys listening, that's like your visible
That's your penis
abdominal.
and your abdominal muscles.
It's that line of abdominal. It's like your six pack. It's your line of abdominal muscles that runs across the front. What they would teach you in there is to actually keep your posture a little more upright and keep your spine like elongated as you do it. So you're kind of like actively decompressing the vertebrae in your back as you perform the crunch. So you're getting
it's like dynamic stretching. That's what
the idea, so like let's say I'm doing that crunch, right? So I'm trying to as I'm doing that crunch and I'm activating my rectus abdominis, I'm also focusing on activating my transverse abdominis, which is going to act as like my internal girdle system to kind of pull my my abdomen in and kind of actively decompress my spine.
I never wear my girdle at the gym. I only wear that when I'm trying to like impress people.
So that's just like one example, but like it's a lot of stuff where you can't not think about it. You're like constantly forced to engage your mind as you do the movement. You're not.
Well, is it because that's the idea? You're supposed to be stretching or activating your transverse abdominis while you're activating your rectus abdominis, or is it because of the specific positions they put you in? You're not.
No, because the positions they put you in are not necessarily even that much different than some of the ones you might do just in the gym. It's just that they're forcing you to think about it and layer it a little bit deeper.
Because that's the idea. That's what this specific.
They're taking a movement that would normally be in your mind maybe would be a little more simple, but they're making it harder because they're making you activate deeper muscle groups.
So it's like when you do a push-up and when you're doing the push-up, you're going to flex your rectus abdominis and you're going to flex your gluteus maximus,
like the
and then you do a push-up and it's like, whoa, that's 100 times harder than any push-up I've ever done.
It would be like that's actually a really good example, because it would be the difference between if you had somebody at the gym who's doing a push-up and they have their elbows flared, they're having their low back hyperextend and their abdomen is disengaged, whereas in Pilates they would cue you to pull your abdomen in. Maybe
you draw your belly button in towards your spine. You
posterior,
flex your ass, and then you
tilt your pelvis, flex your ass. Maybe engage the lats and the serratus a little bit. stuff like that. So it's constant like postural cueing, basically.
Okay.
Which I like because it's
Well, that was like foundational with NASM. I know we both did NASM, and that was like basically their whole fucking philosophy was just was the postural cueing, like you said.
And they go into it. It is like with NASM, you know, like NASM will cover it, but the only difference is I feel like with NASM, because they have a much broader spectrum of things that they need to cover, they can't necessarily go specifically just into that as much.
Sure.
You know what
But
I mean?
that seemed to be this underlying background for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Their philosophy with the OPT model was to go back to that.
Yes.
Every time was
yeah.
Whether you were stretching, whether you're doing powerlifting, whether you're doing push-ups, whether you're doing fucking jumping jacks, whatever you were doing, it was brought back to that.
Yeah. So that's I guess that's what's been kind of fascinating for me about learning Pilates is that I think when I'm in the gym and I'm just kind of hammering away at it and focusing on just getting a good workout in, like when I go into do Pilates, it kind of forces me to slow things down and thinking about things a little more intentionally and really just focus on like caring for my body as opposed to like beating it down constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, again, that sounds really similar to the fucking the NASM thing. Like that was a big philosophy that I don't know if that's what you got out of it, but when I went through it, that was a lot of what was reinforced to me. A lot of the working out that I've done in my life has been very pressure oriented. It's been action oriented. It hasn't been about taking care of myself. It's been about performing an action and getting stronger or faster or both at doing that action.
Yeah.
The fucking the team that I work out with at the gym, like I remember this one speech my coach gave us one time where he was telling us about, he's like, I hear a lot of people talk about overtraining. He's like, I don't fucking buy that shit. And I was like, oh fuck. I could hit him for it. Because he was already his fucking conditioning workouts are super goddamn hard. Like I fucking in my best shape, I barely make it through them. And
it's like I kind of go back and forth on that. Like I definitely believe in overtraining because I know for sure I myself have been overtrained before.
Dude, I think overtraining has to do with your conditioning level. I think you can get to any level. I don't think there's a cap where you just go, that's too much. I think
unless you like start to pee blood and die, I guess that would be the cap.
No, that's not. Well, yeah, that would be the cap, but that's but I feel like it depends on you as an individual. I mean, there's genetics, but there's also the level that you're at as an individual. Like, I'm in this good a shape, I can handle this level of stress.
It's definitely genetic too, because there's different people that can handle different volume. Like you have that guy Dean Karnazes, who have you ever seen Dean Karnazes?
No idea who that is.
They've done scientific.
It reminds me of the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Okay, no. Dean Karnazes, you got to look this guy up because it's unreal. He was on, do you remember that show that was on History Channel a while back? It was called Stan Lee's Superhumans.
I do, and I watched one episode and I was like, this is fucking trash.
It was trash, but they did have a few very interesting people on there, and that was the first place I ever saw Wim Hof. They had the Iceman on there, Wim Hof. Yeah, first time I ever saw him was on Stan Lee's Superhumans. And they were doing studies on him. And then they were doing studies on this guy named Dean Karnazes, this guy he ran across the country. He literally ran across the country day in, day out. And what they figured out was they did all these studies on this guy. He didn't get that way through training. He has like a mutation, a genetic adaptation where his body, he's able, if he wanted to just run, X-Men. He is an X-Men. If he wanted to they said theoretically, if this guy just had food in his hand constantly and he was able to keep feeding himself, he could just run infinitely. He would he would just stop to sleep, he would eat, and that's it. He could run nonstop.
I don't think he needs sleep. He'll be fine. He could sleep running. Keep
but
running.
It's super fucking impressive.
See what happens.
So obviously the rules of overtraining aren't going to apply to a guy like that, and I'm sure there's.
But that of course, that's a fucking mutant. That's
an extreme case. What I'm saying is between the normal human being and him, there's got to be an even broader spectrum.
Sure, there's got to be a massive spectrum between the normal human being. Of course.
So it's going to vary by person to person, and that's what I always say. Because like for me, I know when I'm overtrained, it's pretty fucking simple. I lose motivation to train. Like I'm a very internally motivated person to train. I always want to train, and as soon as I get to the point where I don't want to get up and do it, and I feel tired all the time, and I constantly feel like I need a nap. Like I'm like, okay, maybe I, you know.
The feeling for me is very much. So I never feel like training. I feel like training when it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hit pads or I'm gonna go fucking spar and shit like that. Like I like to hit stuff. I like to fucking choke people. I like to do fucking all that stuff. But when I'm like, okay, I'm overtrained, it's like I can't. I look good. I got abs and I'm fucking fit and everything, but like I'm not moving that fast. I'm not I'm getting tired really fast. I shouldn't be this fucking tired. I can't do that many push-ups, but I'm fucking shredded right now.
Yeah. Well, it's probably just not natural because you've never been like naturally shredded.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably not even natural for you to walk around at that weight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when I get to that point and I'm overtrained, I can fucking tell because I'm like, okay, I'm super fit right now. I'm training correctly. I'm doing all the stuff I should be doing. I'm not training for hypertrophy. I'm not training for like weight loss or anything. I'm training for performance and my performance is going down. So
yeah.
I'm overtrained because I'm not going the direction that I should be going right now.
Right. Yeah.
It definitely it's not a question of motivation because the only thing that I'm never motivated to do is fucking like the conditioning.
Yeah.
But I'm never motivated for that. So that doesn't fluctuate. I don't want to do that. I don't enjoy that.
Yeah. 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 It's hard to say, right? Because different people are just going to have different, you know, I mean, as stupid as it sounds in a way.
Well, no, I mean, you, this is a perfect conversation to be having, you and me, is you like that. You've always enjoyed the fitness and the conditioning aspect. And
I've often like asked myself, I wonder why I like that. I think I would go crazy if I didn't have it. I mean, I really do.
You're just a fucking masochist and you just like hurting yourself. You're a sick bastard. I could see it in your eyes.
I do think that that's, I just think that I need that, I don't know. I just think I need that whatever that release is, or I think I just naturally
the
probably
release from the workout.
Well, yeah, because I do think I naturally have like an addictive personality, and it kind of goes back to like, okay, when I was drinking, I would never have one beer. I would get blackout drunk every time. I mean, to the point of like passing out every single time. And that's a fact. Like no, you know. I mean,
I remember. I drank with you. There were no light days.
No.
You were actually everybody's favorite drunk though, because whenever you blacked out, you were fucking funny, dude.
I had a pleasant personality when I was drunk.
Yeah, I mean, at least you weren't like a bad drunk. You weren't like nobody wanted to be around for sure. Some people have bad drunks. You were
yeah. That's the bummer about it. That's why I'm bummed that I wish I could like keep it under control and just have a beer or two or whatever, and just kind of hang out. But
yeah, I mean, Drunk Matt was his own character, but just like everything else, like you said, like it's got to be put to rest at its time. Like
Drunk Matt had to get
Drunk Matt had to be put down. I get it. Like,
he had to go to sleep permanently.
Drunk Matt had to pass out for the last time.
You know what we should have done? You know what would have been hilarious? We should have had we should have had a memorial for Drunk Matt, and
we can still have a Drunk Matt memorial.
You know what we should do? We should do a podcast where we like chronicle all of our funniest drunk stories, things we've done. Dude. And we just come up with like a compilation of each of our like top 5
In what sense? How would we put that together? Would that just be a conversation of them, or are you saying would
Yeah,
be
no,
like
conversation.
sketches?
Well,
Like
we could go back and
reenactments?
forth. Wouldn't it, we
Well,
could
the
do
actors
reenactments.
reenact them.
We could maybe even have guest commentators who were there
Yeah.
for said stories.
Okay,
Um,
I could get behind that. Yeah.
but we could just go through and I give my number 5, you give your number 5, and then we go through like a countdown all the way until we hit number
Mhm.
1. Um,
Man, that would take some digging though. Like, I
that
mean,
would take some digging.
the,
That would be a
the
deep, deep dive.
yeah, because like there's been a lot of drinking and a lot of drunk stories and a lot of good times associated with them. A lot of
Yeah.
bad times that make great stories too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm running through my mind right now trying to think of some of the worst
Oh
things
man.
that I've done, but I wouldn't even know where to start. It mostly just revolves around me waking up, peeing myself, or,
Yeah, waking up having peed yourself, trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, pretty much.
most of mine, like I get real bad hangovers, so when I wake up, it's like, how will I ever live again? That's
That's how I would feel. That's
Yeah.
something I don't miss at all. The hangovers were brutal. Um, did I ever tell you that story about, so you know how they have like the steel maces, the
Mhm.
workout contraptions? Do you remember back in the day, I used to have one that I made when I was like 16, and it was like it was like a wooden dowel, like you would use for a broom, but it had a 10-pound weight taped to the end of it.
I don't recall that. No.
Okay, it might have been gone by the time we started training, but anyways, when I was a teenager, I used to have one of these. So basically,
I think we only trained at your house like a couple times, and I think
yeah, I didn't have my equipment there at that point. But so I had this, just to explain to you guys at home, think of a wooden stick, like a broom, and then I have a 10-pound counterweight taped to the very end of the stick.
You know what? I vaguely remember. I vaguely kind of
I used to use it all the time.
Taped.
And I would always fuck with people. I would bring them over because it's only 10 pounds, right? It doesn't sound like anything. But I would always mess with people, and I had all my buddies that were on the football team.
You grab this on the end.
Yeah, and they were always into lifting weights and shit. And it was one of the first times in my life that it challenged the way that I lifted strength. Because you take this little 10-pound weight on the end of this thing, and it was like incredible for training your grip strength. And you would hand it to one of them, and they wouldn't be able to balance it with one arm. It was the first time I was exposed to like circus strength, like that different type of strength. And so one time it was when I was like 18, and it was the week I graduated high school. I had just turned 18. I was throwing parties like every night, and it was like 1 a.m, and we had just got done having a party. So I'm in the kitchen, and I'm showing off, and I'm showing my friends all these tricks I can do with my fucking homemade steel mace. And I'm like flipping it and rotating it behind my back and doing all this cool shit. And then I lose control of it, and it fucking rotates, and there's a chandelier in my kitchen, this big old light, and it just fucking hits it, and the glass just comes raining down on my kitchen, all over the goddamn place. And I'm looking at my two friends, and I'm like, they're just sitting there.
So that's basically how you do it.
Dude, they're sitting there, and they're like, they just have their eyes are wide open. They're like, fuck. And then they just get up and run. They didn't even help me clean it up, fucking assholes. They just got up and ran out of the room. I was like, God damn it. So I just start wiping up glass. And then my mom was like, what happened to the light? I was like, I don't know. I was just in the kitchen talking to my friend, and it just
Exploded.
That's what I said. And she never even questioned me about it. She just didn't even, really? Yeah, that was it.
I gotta say, the one that comes to mind for me is you might have been there for this one. I don't know. Do you remember the guy getting attacked by the possum?
No. No.
All right, so this is when we were kids. We were pre-drinking age. We were like not pre-legal drinking age. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably like 19 or something, out of high school and shit. But I was with Tim Titty because I remember it was me and him that were like hanging out and chit-chatting and shit. And it's a house party. Jake Sullivan was there, and like a few other people that I was tight with. and I can't remember whose house we were at, but we went to this fucking house party. There's a lot of people. There were girls and shit, and everybody's hanging out in the kitchen. And there's this like 39-year-old dude or something, this guy who's like way out of place there, shouldn't be fucking hanging out with all these kids. And
Is he partying with crystal meth?
He might have been. Like, he looked like it. He was this old fucking like dude who just like he was super cool.
That's like way too old though.
Like,
that's like not even like you get like a 20-something-year-old at a party with teenagers. Hey, it's kind of charming. You get a 39-year-old. What are you doing?
He was grown, like he might have had kids there at that party.
He was looking for somebody to rape.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. So this guy, he's in there just like, you know, telling stories like, yeah, I'm grown up. I can buy my own beer and shit.
These chicks are gonna dig me.
So
he's like a real life Todd from Beavis and Butthead.
Basically, yeah, he's that guy. So me and Tim Titi were outside. We're like having cigarettes, we're talking fucking bullshit and laughing, and we see a possum in the backyard. Big possum, big fucking guy, big old fucking thing. So we I don't know why we got it in our heads to like chase it around. We're trying to get rid of it. We're trying to catch it. I don't know, dude. We were drunk. We were teenagers. We thought it'd be funny.
Possums are vile. I would never even go near one.
It was a filthy thing. Absolutely. Well, this is hysterical. So we chase it around enough, it ends up going in the house. Okay. So it runs into the kitchen. It runs into the kitchen. And this sounds like a fucking movie scene. I swear to God. Or it looked like a movie scene to me. Let me put it that way. And, you know, fucking the 40-year-old guy sees, it's all right, I got it. He grabs it by the back of the neck, and it just goes, and just turns around and, like, grabs his arm. He just bites the fuck out of this guy's arm, and he just goes, ah! And
holy shit.
Like, flailing around. He knocks like beer off the table, like he cleans the table with the fucking possum. He's hitting it against the walls. He bounces it off the fucking what are those things called? Like when there's like a short wall and a railing, and then there's the beams that come down with little cylinders.
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Like, and he's like bouncing it between those. Is like, this thing's clamped.
How long did this go on for?
It felt like it could have been like, you know, it felt like it could have been hours, but it was no more than like 10 seconds. It was like, even 10 seconds might be like over exaggerated. This guy's like boom, 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 like, and I hear it's banging against everything. Finally, it lets go, runs off, it's gone, and this guy's just like,
holy shit, that's crazy.
Just absolutely humiliated. He's just standing there, and someone's like, and his arm is bleeding all over the place, and he's like, somebody came up and like, we got to get you to the hospital. He's all, no, it's fine. Possums are really clean.
Possums are really clean.
I can't believe he said that. Like, what a fucking nonsense thing to say. Possums are clean.
That's
don't worry.
absolutely nonsense.
You have to go get a rabies shot right now.
He died. He died shortly after.
Shortly after, he contracted rabies, and he died of rabies.
I actually have a really funny it's a kind of drunk story involving Jake Sullivan.
Okay.
Which it's weird because I barely even knew him. I only met him a handful of times.
Well, Jiggy Jake, he was great.
Yeah, but one time we were at this girl's house and she was having a party, and we were like in the garage. Everybody was drunk, and we were in the garage smoking out of a vaporizer. And then we saw in her garage that she had a fire extinguisher. And the party was kind of dwindling, but it was just me, Wyatt, Dirk, and Corey Deneen. So we went back in the house, and Jake was passed out on the couch. I think it was Jake. I'm pretty sure it was Jake.
You know what's really funny is that your story's got Jake and Corey Deneen. The first time I ever did mushrooms was with the two of them.
Was with those two, yeah. The first time I did something else was with Corey Deneen, but I don't even want to say what it was.
Yeah, we'll leave that.
But
it was probably something bad. I'm just gonna.
It was very bad. But what do you call it? So I'm pretty sure it was him though. Anyway, so he's passed out on the couch and everybody's doing like pro wrestling moves on with him, like jumping off the top. She had stairs right above the couch. So we were jumping off the top stairs doing like, the Shawn Michaels diving elbow and like, swanton bombs and like all these stupid pro wrestling moves.
All the stuff that I know from the PS2 SmackDown.
Yes, exactly. So then all of a sudden, without warning, I had kind of forgotten about this fire extinguisher, but apparently Dirk took a note of it. And before we know it, Dirk just comes running in and just starts fucking spraying him with a fire extinguisher. Okay, now, you guys have never sprayed a fire extinguisher in real life. In the movies, it looks funny. You spray a fire.
I've done
it. Okay. So in the movies, you spray a fire extinguisher and it just kind of, it quickly comes out and it quickly disappears. Not in real life. That shit gets everywhere.
And it stays.
And it fucking, if you spray somebody with it, it like fucks them up. Like it's disgusting. And Dirk's just like spraying it all over.
It's a really caustic, like sticky material. Like it's not just a fucking...
Yeah. And it's just the visual. I feel like the story doesn't do the visual justice because the visual of it is so funny because it's Dirk as a fucking teenager and he's got it like fucking Scarface and he's just spraying it like, yeah, just fucking all over.
Say hello to my little friend thing. Like, yeah.
But as he's doing it and he's screaming, he's like hysterically laughing. He just knows how absurd it is. Oh man, this girl got so mad. She like wanted to kick us all out, but she didn't because she needed us to clean it. But then nobody ended up really cleaning it. And I don't know. It's my fire extinguisher story.
Oh man. Well, the fact that you have a story where someone actually like broke down the fire extinguisher was...
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen again in my life. I am happy I have that story.
It probably won't, man. But that's a one-time thing. Oh, that's good.
Where are we at on time? How long have we been going for?
I honestly have no idea. I think we're at like an hour, something like that. Maybe an hour
Sounds
and a half.
about right. Just a heads up, I have Ariana over here bugging me because...
Bugging you?
She's bugging me because I have... she claims she can't go to bed until I finish my podcast.
She can't go to bed till you finish?
No.
She needs to cuddle. I get it. It's all right.
No, but we can go for a while longer. I don't care.
Well, what else is going on, man? My mushrooms kicked in maybe like 10 minutes ago.
See, this would actually be a really good public service announcement in regards like
the fact that I'm not like murdering people.
Yeah, pro mushrooms.
Yeah.
The fact that we're withholding a nice conversation, really, to even to the trained eye, they probably wouldn't even know that you took them.
I feel really silly right now. I'm a little goofy. I'm desperately trying not to slur at all, but because I'm part drunk too. Like I've been drinking since well before we started the podcast.
You're like Adam Scott in Step Brothers when he goes up into the treehouse and he's like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little spacey right now.
A little spacey right now. With Jay out in the car right now. Lather these bad boys up with keels every day.
Something else I wanted to tell you. Like a month ago, probably about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, I went to go do a certification for Bulgarian bag training. Have you ever seen that? Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you doing it on your
all right. So the guy who invented the bag, his name's Ivan Ivanov, and he's
of course it is. Yeah. Ivan Ivanov.
Have you seen
him?
They
couldn't come up with multiple names. They couldn't even off something else.
This guy. You would love this guy. He's hilarious. He's the former Olympic wrestling coach, USA Olympic wrestling coach. So he's like a very super high level wrestler. Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting because you go to this seminar and he's teaching you how to use the Bulgarian bag. But then in the process of him teaching you how to use this bag, he tells you why he invented it. It was to help his wrestlers with their conditioning and their grip strength and all this other stuff. But in the process of that, he kind of he filters in some of his wrestling techniques into it, and he'll like show you a Bulgarian bag move, but then he'll show you the wrestling technique that lines up with it, basically. You know what I mean? And it was really cool because it was the first time in forever that I really got to learn from like somebody like that, you know?
Yeah, somebody at that level correlating fitness.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the,
And he's like, he's not a big guy. He's just like this little, like, he's probably only like 5'7". He's in like good shape, but he's not like a big dude.
Dude,
And,
like classically, like think about all the guys who are like those little guys who ended up being really good coaches, you know?
yeah.
You see heavyweights who end up being really good coaches, but typically it's the little people like they had to focus on technique more to be more effective.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's always the case. I feel like, you know who I'm very impressed with, and I don't think we had the chance to talk about this because I think it happened since our last podcast. TJ Dillashaw, because him and Garbrandt fought again.
Mm-hmm.
And I just fucking love the way Dillashaw fights.
Oh yeah,
like, stylistically, he might be my favorite fighter.
Well,
I love the way that dude fights.
I'm obsessed with that whole fucking.
Well, and he's of direct lineage of Bas Rutten in a way too.
Yeah, well, the Dwayne Ludwig system is so fucking fascinating. Like we were talking about earlier about Bas Rutten, and we the way that we left off of that point sounded like we were talking about it in a like a, how do I put this? Like it's a less advanced way, like the whole step.
Right. Yeah.
Thing. Like
right.
It's not as upper, but that was early footwork.
Yeah.
And
well, it's just a different way of doing it. It's like, you know, some people will teach you to throw like a short, like shovel hook.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe somebody else will teach you to throw a wider, higher, like looping hook. You know what I mean? It's just a different way.
Right. And yeah, like we even touched on it. It's not wrong. It's just the way that is done. That style works, and that style works when you have that kind of footwork, and that footwork got passed on to Dwayne Ludwig, who just was this fucking. I don't know what he is, if he's autistic or what he is. If he's,
he must be like on the spectrum, or he's got some kind of weird like.
But he's
insulting way either. He's like
he's a fucking genius when it comes to kickboxing, like, and more so in his understanding of it than it is just his performance, because he was a really good world-class kickboxer.
Yeah,
but he wasn't the best. You know, he got beat by people.
Same thing in UFC. Like he was like kind of a mid-level UFC fighter.
Exactly. But his understanding of the game was good enough to take him to the top level.
Right.
So,
but you know what though, that his understanding of the game in him being the fighter was probably more detrimental than it was helpful in some ways. You know what I mean? Because maybe he had a tendency to kind of over-analyze and overthink things when he was in there, you know, than to kind of go off of instinct or, I don't know, you know?
Right. I think about that a lot. It's the smart fighter weakness, you know, where you have smart fighters who have the strength of a smart fighter is they have the tools and the possibility to beat anybody, because they can think their way. They can devise a strategy to make it work to beat any odds, any situation, whatever a fighter's strength is. They have that going for them. But then a person who's not necessarily who's more of like a physical fighter, all they got to do is hit you. they just step in and fucking crush you, and all that goes to shit. There's a lot more chess playing, you know. Yeah. Well, and what you said too, I actually wanted to touch on, because what you said at the beginning was, you know, how we left off when we were talking about that. Maybe to some people it would sound like, you know, like we were kind of downplaying it or degrading it in some way. But it's actually kind of the opposite, because like what I always like, a good like
because obviously being in the fitness world, I'm always getting people asking, well, what's the best way to do this, or what's this or what's that. And what I always tell people is like, and I kind of really learned this from because I've been doing a lot of these little certifications lately, and occasionally you'll get people in these classes who will kind of get I don't think they mean to do it, but they'll get kind of not combative, but they'll the teacher will say one thing and then they'll say, oh, well, I heard that, you should do this or you should do that.
It's like the most annoying thing in the fucking world.
Yeah. Yeah. And that annoys the shit out of me because it's like, if I'm there to learn, I don't give a shit what they're telling me. If I paid to
I'm
do
going to learn what you fucking are.
I'm going to learn the way they teach it for that day, and everything they tell me, I don't care if I've heard otherwise somewhere else, that's right for that day. Whether I continue to do it that way on my own or...
Well, because you know enough about what you know enough about just theoretically about fitness or that world, that realm of understanding that there's no just right or wrong way to do things. This is right.
Yeah.
Because
and that's
this is a honed knowledge. This is something you know because you've done this before.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is I think people have this idea when it comes to exercise that there's some kind of end point and there's some kind of aha moment where they're just going to learn everything they ever wanted to learn and it's all going to click. Mm-hmm. That never really happens. Like the deeper you get into it, you get more questions than you get answers.
Right. Oh, dude.
The deeper you go into the layers.
My coach has a really good quote on that about how knowledge is paralyzing.
Mm-hmm.
The more you understand something, the more you understand how vast it is and how complicated it is, and how there's no end to the answers. No. There's no end to the question.
Well, and I think that if you can't see that, and if you think that you've reached some kind of ceiling and you've learned everything there is to learn, then that's like your biggest
enemy. You're an idiot. You can fucking get out.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
No, yeah, that's something wrong with you if you get to that point and you go like, oh, I've mastered this and we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I keep yawning because I'm on drugs. They do. They always bring up a yawn. What's really funny is okay. Let me describe my visuals right now. I'm having some fun ones. Nothing intense, nothing specific. The wood grain on my desk keeps going. Like every time I look to my right, I'm not looking at the camera anymore. I'm looking at the wood grain, and it's going like Matt's face keeps coming closer and going farther away from me.
That might actually be me, though. I might actually.
Nah, dude, it's my computer screen. The whole fucking thing keeps going.
What about when I do this? Does this do anything for you?
Let me just bring you down here a little bit. I feel like Matt's trying to suck my dick right now. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
So did you have that pearl necklace before? Like that Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yeah, I just watched that not that long ago. I love that movie.
Good, dude. That movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else is going on in the world? Good movies come out lately. What did you think about Solo?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't like I don't think it was as bad as people were saying it was. I thought people were way harsh on it.
I basically had the exact same appeal. People fucking hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't like this, okay? I don't think the guy captured like the character that well. I don't think he just seemed like a different character in that story that ended up becoming Han Solo. And
he just really wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Yeah, he was just got to be a fighter pilot. I don't know. He seemed too nice, dude. Like Han Solo.
He kind of did, yeah.
Han Solo is just more like an arrogant kind of fucking asshole.
They definitely they should have given him more edge than that. I like the cameo at the end. Did you like that?
The cameo at the end.
I'm gonna spoil it for you guys because You probably won't see it anyways.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah. Was that Darth Maul?
Yeah.
I
The hologram.
I just figured it was like whatever Darth Maul is. It's the same thing.
Oh, like a different
Like a different person who
character. No, it was supposed to be Darth Maul.
It's supposed to be Darth Maul? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. No, that was cool. Darth Maul was dope. He like was the big redeeming quality in that first Star Wars reboot.
It's because they had what's his name? Ray Park. Ray Park played him.
Okay.
And he's a really good. Have you ever seen any of his stuff online? He's actually a badass. He's like a badass dude in real life.
I know of him from episode 1. Like
he also played Snake Eyes in G.I. Joe. I probably shouldn't even mention that because that movie.
Right. Yeah, he's got like a whole fucking lineage of martial arts shit where he's just.
Yeah, he was fraud. He was
guy.
He was Toad in
X-Men.
X-Men.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up right now. I think he's got a bunch of belts. He's only 44. He's from Scotland. Park was introduced to martial arts by his father, who's a friend of Bruce Lee. He did Kung Fu. He won Great Britain's martial arts national championship for his class. Then he went on to Malaysia to improve his skills, competed in martial arts tournaments around the world and won his awards before turning his attention to acting in the late 90s.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. I feel like in every single podcast we've done, at some point we always look up somebody's martial arts background.
We're reading someone's Wikipedia on how they became. We had Shang Tsung on that one. How he's a what did we find out about him? He was a sports therapist.
Yeah, was that what it was?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Oh, yeah, he was a sports psychiatrist. Excuse me, that's what it was. Yeah.
Shang Tsung was a sports psychiatrist? I don't even remember that.
He was a devout Christian, or he worked with Christians or something.
Really? Yeah. I already forgot this.
Oh man,
it shows how good my fucking memory is. I'm looking this up.
Look it up, man. It's a fact.
This does not sound familiar at all. So you just said it. Wait, he's a what? He's a Christian?
Yeah, he's got something to do with Christianity. He's a sports psychiatrist. Just those.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, he started working Orthodox Christian actors. He was baptized in Moscow. Wow.
Yeah. Boom.
I don't see anything about the sports psychiatrist, though.
Hey, he was something like that, man.
I think you're imagining this.
I'm not imagining it. We found that somewhere. I am on drugs, though, so whatever I'm saying may be coming from just the universe.
I'm not seeing it, but we're definitely going to need somebody in the audience to fact check this.
Yeah.
Is Shang Tsung a sports? That would be really ironic. If the guy who played Shang Tsung and killed Liu Kang's brother is a sports psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever.
Your brother's soul is mine.
He didn't even have a background as how is he going to be a sports psychologist?
It was something weird like that. I don't know.
He's all, when I lost to Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat tournament in 1995, dude, it was one of the hardest obstacles I ever had to endure.
Dude, he's a wizard from the other world in Mortal Kombat, and he's an Orthodox Christian. Come on, man.
He's an interesting character. He's already 68 years old. He was in the United States Army. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta take over for a second. I gotta hit the bathroom.
All right, no problem. For those of you listening, if you need any more information on Shang Tsung, his most recent work was Reagan. I don't even know what that is. He does some TV shows. He's done quite a few TV. Lost in Space on Netflix. That's pretty recent. I guess he reprised his his role as Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat Legacy in 2013. 2 episodes of that. I think that was like a short-lived Mortal Kombat themed television show. I don't know if it was supposed to be a follow-up to the original series or not, but I never really watched it, so I couldn't tell you guys. I love Mortal Kombat, though. I wish they could bring that back and maybe do it justice and make a good movie out of it. But unfortunately, when it comes to video games, it seems like they usually shit the bed. There's not too many good video game movies out there. In fact, I couldn't tell you one positively reviewed video game movie that's ever existed. They usually all suck. Yeah, I don't know. Could you think of one? One positively reviewed video game movie?
No, but at least Doom had The Rock in it.
Yeah, I guess
That's the closest thing to a positive review I can give you.
There was a good point that I had heard somebody make at one point, and they were talking about a movie. It wasn't based off of a video game. Oh, it was the guy who's going to do the Metal Gear Solid movie. And
That could be a good movie. Like, you know what? That's the thing is they never make movies. One, they never put an honest effort into making a movie off a video game. It's always kind of fucking half-assed. They never make movies off of games that could make a really good movie. Always just fucking random.
That's true.
Metal Gear Solid's a prime candidate to make a movie off of.
Perfect one. Well, and the guy was talking about was he was saying that it was a movie that had came out, but it wasn't a video game movie. But he was saying that it was formatted like a video game. But I just don't remember what it was.
Was it Hardcore Henry?
No, it was just the way the structure of the movie. I just don't remember.
I'm trying to think of this this one. I never watched it. I didn't want to watch it because it fucking looked too much like a video game. So it just didn't seem like a pleasant movie to watch.
What was that?
I'm trying to think what it's called. It had the guy from Legion on it.
Oh, Upgrade?
Was it Upgrade?
It might have been. Which guy from Legion?
The main guy from Legion.
Oh, you're the
David.
TV show Legion. You're talking about what's his name? I can't remember that dude. Dan Stevens.
I fucking don't know what his name is.
His name's Dan Stevens. What movie was that? I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Fuck, I can IMDb it real quick. I'm sure I'll find it in just a second.
Movie I watched just the other day. I've already seen it a bunch of times, but I just fucking love it. It's Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, it's so good.
I love that movie.
That's not.
It's just got a bunch of video game
it's got references to video games and
yeah. But that's such a cool movie. Like, if you guys haven't seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World and you consider yourself like kind of a nerd, you need to see it. I mean, it's like a must. Yeah, Dan Stevens. I'm not sure which movie
I'll find it. Don't worry.
we're thinking of here.
Look,
Let's see who can find it first.
I know I'm on drugs, but
See who can find it first. I'm on the prowl right now. I might find it for you.
Are we fucking competing right now? You
Kill
should have
Switch,
told me.
Marshall, The Man Who Invented Christmas, Colossal.
I heard you say it.
You heard me say it?
I know which one it is.
Which one is it? Colossal, huh?
No, Colossal.
Kill Switch?
It was Kill Switch, yeah.
Okay.
I think Kill Switch might have been a video game.
It looks like it, just from.
But when you watch a trailer, it's like, oh my god, I feel like I'm watching a first-person shooter. It's so fucking odd. It looks kind of cool. Like, it looks like it might be a good watch. I may check it out, but
I've never heard of it.
You know,
a really good Dan Stevens movie. My favorite Dan Stevens movie, The Guest.
You have a favorite Dan Stevens movie?
I do. The Guest.
Which one was The Guest? I know I've watched it.
The Guest is where he plays it's a hybrid. It starts off as a drama, and then it morphs into an action, and then it turns into just kind of a horror movie. and it's where he plays a military veteran who comes back from Iraq, and he's like
Yeah.
an imposter. He's pretending
That
to
movie
be.
was super weird. It was good.
It is weird,
But
but it's good. It's like different.
It was yeah, the way it ended. I'm trying to remember. Like I forgot I watched that, but I don't want to give too much away. If anybody,
Yeah, if you guys haven't
listening
seen,
is,
if you guys haven't seen it and you're a fan of the kind of the action, thriller, horror genres,
it definitely it definitely starts as like this drama, and it's so weird how it morphs like that. You don't really see that a lot in movies where it goes from genre to genre, because it ends up having this badass action, and then it turns out the guy who is doing all the action is like kind of a monster.
yeah, it just totally shifts gears on you constantly. It's like a 3-part movie, you know, and it just it's cool. Okay, well, I can just feel my wife fuming from the other room if I don't end this podcast soon. But I would say this is a pretty good first one for our very first mobile.
To fucking come back after
podcast.
The months that it's been. We'll get back to doing this regular. We could do this.
Yeah, we can make this we could do like a weekly one now.
We can easily do this weekly. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. We didn't even touch on today just because we were.
Yeah, I'm thinking actually we should probably maybe even do another one before the end of the week, just because we have so much to.
You know, I'm
cover.
free. I'm free nights all week. I only have class in the morning. I have class in the mornings during all week, and then I work all weekend. But yeah, anytime we can put together to make that happen, I'm down, man.
You heard it here, guys.
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Back and Bone are back after a long hiatus. We have all of our technical difficulties figured out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this goes after I fucking close this out. If this
we actually don't know if this podcast even came out good, so there's a possibility nobody might ever hear this, but...
What a fucking waste this didn't work out. I just did drugs on the air for you people.
Well, we can just put it on YouTube as like an isolated video, maybe.
No, I mean like if this didn't record or something.
Yeah. Mine says it's recording.
Mine says it's recording. Are we both recording this?
Maybe. I don't know.
Come on.
All right. Well,
guys, as usual, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Find me on Bone Control on Instagram. You won't see a lot there because I'm not that active on social media, but maybe if we get more viewers, I will be.
Yes. Same here, guys. Check me out on ML_intrinsic resistance, Matt Reviews Media as well. And if there's one thing that you guys can take away from this podcast today that both me and Keith can agree on, it's that you should go see A Star is Born. I mean, there's no debating that. Let's just get that out of the way.
Also, for sure, check out Mandy. That shit. Like, all jokes aside,
legitimately,
that shit was fire.
Yeah, we can definitely agree on that.
And do mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's what Matt and I can both agree on that.
Yeah.
As much as I can agree that we'll both say you should watch A Star is Born. Definitely do mushrooms. All right.
All right.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you. Bye. Signing off.
Out.